Whiteboard alumni in the chat. Oh, that button doesn't work. We'll do that one.
What?
Cool. Wild Party hasn't been here since the channel was reinstated. Nice. Very nice. All right. Welcome, guys. On time tonight. And we're going to have to move quick because I agreed to be on Altered State on Badlands Media with Red Pill 78, Zach, tonight. So that starts in approximately 59 minutes and 10 seconds. So going to be about 50 minutes of streaming tonight, but I didn't want to miss the Wednesday stream. I'm going for the nightly streams. Trying to do it. I'll probably, maybe miss one a week or something like that. But I'll let you guys know, Telegram, Twitter, if I ever miss. But all right. I wanted to cover tonight because a lot of big things going on. Trump speaking at the World Economic Forum meetings this morning and dropping some doozies. Also some doozies coming from John Solomon. It really sounds like we're going to be getting arrests finally soon. Trump making a statement on 2020 prosecutions inbound. John Solomon mentioning that he's got a source saying that some of those paid agitators, anti-ICE protesters, the funders for them could very well start getting arrested soon as well. So, optimism rising, a non-level intensifying, things we've been waiting for a long, long time, very patiently. Very patiently. Some people have gotten black-pilled over the years. That's okay. That's okay. They'll come around when the fireworks start popping off. And then there'll be the folks that say, oh, I was on Team Patriot the whole time. I was on Team Trump the whole time. Right? It's okay. Wins are coming. We'll also be covering, apparently a Greenland deal is almost finished. In the works right now. And other things on deck too. A few things on Maduro. Trump made a very interesting statement on Maduro during an interview yesterday. And then talk about some ICE. Talk about... Oh, there was a really funny post. I guess there's some combat vets and ex-law enforcement officers that are basically running psyops on anti-ICE protesters in a few states around the country. They're dressing up. They're not dressing up, but they're driving around in blacked out vehicles with masks on their face. So it almost looks like they're ICE agents. And then they're driving around getting anti-ICE protesters to follow them away from the actual ICE people so actual ICE agents can conduct their raids and arrest. And then these combat vets are like just taking them on a ride. Follow me, woo, away from actual ICE agents. Pretty funny. And then to finish up, we'll talk about this. It wasn't a UFO sighting at Area 51 today. It was an experimental craft that some people thought was a UFO, but clearly it's not a UFO. It's probably a Lockheed experimental something like a drone. And we'll talk about that. I'll show you the video, and we'll look at a really stupid Lockheed post. They're like laughing at us about keeping things so secret for so long. So cool. Let me talk to the chat, and then we'll get moving. Jackie, happy I'm back. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jeffrey from Seattle. Good luck over there, friend. Good luck. Solomon has been saying that for quite a long time. Not getting my hopes up, but definitely keeping an eye open for arrests. It's good to have that kind of mindset, right? You don't get caught up on the hopium, but you don't let yourself get black-pilled with the doomium. It's good to be right in the middle. I remember John Solomon about 3-4 months ago, he was talking about the FBI's, what we're calling Rico Grande case. The Rico case against like 10 years of deep state stuff. And he was speaking a few things. I don't remember, prove me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember John Solomon specifically speaking of arrests. But in this case, he's talking about arrests of the paid agitator funders. Now, that specifically, John Solomon has never mentioned before. But about 3-4 months ago, he was talking about, I think, FISA and the RICO case and all that. But this is different. He is specifying arrests of funders of paid agitators, which he has not talked about before. So, all right. Somebody from Port Orchard in the chat too. Cool, man. I grew up right next to there. Been to Port Orchard a few times. Yep, B-Town. Now, before we get into it, if you want to support the show, want to support the streams, crowdsource streams, I thank you very much. If you do so, you can subscribe on Locals and or Patreon for just a few bucks a month. And by subscribing, you'll get access to my private Telegram group chat. Good group of folks in there. And you'll get a discount coupon to my Conscious Strength Supps. Links for Patreon and Locals will be down below. Doesn't matter which one, you'll get the same thing. Same link, same code. And then, speaking of Conscious Strength Supps, go check them out. Link below for those as well. Methylene Blue, Shilajit Gummies, Collagen Powder, Electrolyte Powder, Greens Powder, Parasite Detox, Vitamin C, DMSO, Zeolite, a lot of things. A lot of products available for your entertainment. And lastly, my private health coaching group, Applied Awareness, on the school platform. Live streams every Sunday. 80 exclusive videos in there. Group coaching, group chat, coaching courses and community all in one. And I will help educate you about the supplement industry and diet, nutrition, corrective exercise, posture, a lot of topics, mental health, mental and physical development in that group. Go check it out. Link below. Let's get into it. This is a doozy of a video Trump posted on Truth Social today, having to do with open borders planned regarding the 2020 election. And let's just watch this video.
The Democrat open borders plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes. 1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world, enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far. 2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen, with free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty to the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like murder and rape. Attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves. Slander critics as racist. 4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE. 5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts, a tremendous amount of electoral power. 6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements, making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud. 7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges, enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party. 8. Win elections. 9. Entrenched single-party rule has been achieved. The best part? Your tax dollars are paying for it.
Damn good video. This reminds me of that viral COVID video that went around about 5 years ago, right after the 2020 election, that was explaining how COVID, the main deep state agenda with COVID, you know, there's a lot of agendas wrapped in one with the scamdemic, but the main agenda was to steal the election, to push mass mail-in voting, to get people away from voting in person and push these mass mail-in votes and rig the 2020 election with. So now they're trying to do it with mass migration. Same agenda, different angle. Great video here. Really sounds like 2020 election is coming down the pipeline. And especially this quick comment that Trump made during his WEF talk this morning. Sounds like he's going off script here. So very important thing he wanted to add in.
It's a war that should have never started, and it wouldn't have started if the 2020 U.S. presidential election weren't rigged. It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election.
What?
People will soon be prosecuted. It was a rigged election. Also, one more thing on that. So this is before Trump left Washington, D.C. yesterday. So he left D.C. to head over to Switzerland. And before that, press briefing at the White House. I don't know who this journalist is that asked this question, but she brings up Maduro. And if Maduro's arrest was related in any way to Venezuela stealing elections, that's sounds like we got a conspiracy theorist in the audience here. Listen to this and the answer.
About the 2020 election. Now that Maduro is in U.S. custody and he was criminally charged, has any more information emerged that you could share with us regarding Venezuelan election software and Venezuelan ties to tampering with the 2020 election? And would you consider speaking to Maduro personally in prison in New York to get some answers on Venezuela's involvement with the 2020 election?
No, I don't think I would be doing that. I think my lawyers would be very unhappy if I did that. Yeah, they've learned some things. Please.
What was that? Her 50 questions in one there. She says, now that Maduro's in U.S. custody, has any more information emerged you can share with us regarding Venezuela election software and Venezuelan ties to tampering with the 2020 election? What? Then she asks, of course, would you speak with Maduro? Trump says, no, my lawyers wouldn't like that. But they've learned things. One more time.
What?
They've learned things? After the context of that question, interesting. Because some of us, including myself, I don't know if you saw my Substack from 2 weeks ago. If you are not subscribed on Substack, I would highly suggest go doing it. All the articles I do on Substack are free. I don't really put anything behind a paywall, but you can feel free to subscribe on Substack. And I can get you that link to the private group chat on Telegram too, if you do, but if you want to be a paid subscriber, but at least free subscriber, I would suggest go checking out my Substack and subscribing for free. I do a couple articles a week, but I put out this one January 8th. Maduro's negotiated exit and the election fraud connection. Venezuela to Smartmatic to 2020 election rig. Isn't that a doozy? That he just said that. My lawyers have learned some things. You don't say. All right, touch on a couple of comments here. Smartmatic, indeed. Exactly. Cyberspeed says she's from the Mike Lindell network. All right, that makes sense. That makes sense. Maybe she subscribes to my Substack. I'm not the only one talking about it. Others are too, but I've definitely been suggesting that, having that conjecture since Maduro was arrested. Comment, they create the chaos and then they have the resolution. Exactly. Hegelian dialectic. Problem, reaction, solution. Exactly. They know exactly how we, the human useless eater sheep, are going to react when they do the thing, and they have it all planned in advance. We are so easily manipulated, even when we don't think we are. So do I think patriots are still in control, or were we played by Trump? I think you can gather my answer to that question, my angle there, by watching the streams. I think all is well. I do not believe Trump is one of them. Just a very tough fight going against the not just Washington, D.C. swamp, but global swamp. Yay. Trump to Europeans. Perhaps you can do much better by following what we're doing, because certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. He just goes to Davos and talks shit right to their faces. I love when he goes to do these United Nations speeches or these World Economic Forum speeches. And he just talks crap. He basically says Europe is just a mess, and if they were to do what we're doing in America, they'd be a lot better off. He was calling out mass migration, calling out the Green New Deal energy scam. Also, here's a doozy. Listen to this one.
Home ownership has always been a symbol of health and vigor of American society, but that goal fell out of reach for millions and millions of people in the Biden era because interest rates went up so high. Today, I'm taking action to bring back this bedrock of the American dream. In recent years, Wall Street giants and institutional investment firms, many of you are here, many of you are good friends of mine, many of you are supporters. Sorry to do this, Joe, I'm so sorry. But you've driven up housing prices by purchasing hundreds of thousands of single-family homes, and it's been a great investment for them. Often as much as 10% of houses on the market. You know, the crazy thing is a person can't get depreciation on a house, but when a corporation buys it, they get depreciation. Okay, that's something we're going to have to think about, too. I don't know if too many people think about that. You buy a corporation, they buy 500 houses. They buy hundreds of thousands. They buy 500 houses. They can take depreciation. A person sweats and works and buys one house, they can't. But homes are built for people, not for corporations, and America will not become a nation of renters. We're not going to do that.
I'm sorry to do this to you. I'm sorry. But he did. Yesterday, before he left to Davos, to Switzerland, he signed an executive order stopping Wall Street from competing with Main Street home buyers. The day before he leaves to go speak to those private equity people, those institutional investors, he signs this executive order to ban them from buying single-family homes in America. And then he goes and talks shit right to their faces and says, sorry, bro, but you can't do it. And mind you, BlackRock's CEO is the co-chair of the World Economic Forum. BlackRock's CEO, Larry Stink. He just got done speaking at the World Economic Forum yesterday when Trump signed this executive order. BlackRock's CEO, co-chair of the World Economic Forum, just got done speaking. Trump signs this executive order to basically ban him from buying up single-family homes. Goes to the World Economic Forum in Davos and then talks shit about it right to their faces and says, sorry, bro. It's great. It's great. But yeah, BlackRock CEO, WEF co-chair Larry Fink openly acknowledges that the global elites have lost public trust and now face the uncomfortable reality in an age of populism and deep institutional mistrust. The world now places far less trust in us to help shape what comes next. If the World Economic Forum is going to be useful going forward, it has to regain trust.
See this guy? Number one bullshit guy.
Shut the hell up.
Good luck, man. Good luck. That's all I have to say. And then European Union President Christine Lagarde says this is a wake-up call, a bigger one than we've ever had. She's talking about America basically not defending NATO anymore if NATO doesn't act right, and she's freaking out. I don't know if you guys saw that video of the president of Finland yesterday at the World Economic Forum. He was asked by a journalist, can you guys protect yourselves without America? He says, oh yeah, we can. We'll be fine. Then 10 minutes later, she brings that back up, and he totally backtracks. And he says, no, I take that back. Europe is freaking out. President of the EU. We can't do this. Oh, my God. We need to analyze and decide what we need to do to be strong by ourselves. Well, your population like doubled. Just send all those migrants to the front line. Just make sure they got AKs. They probably don't know how to use the NATO rifles you guys have, the 5.56 kind. Just give them an AK, send them to the front line. Those migrants will do it, right? Put some suicide vests on them. All right. Alex Soros meeting with Gavin Newsom, too, in Davos, Switzerland. Alex says, I've never heard him speak before, but I'm assuming this is what his voice sounds like.
Great catching up with the real star of the 2026 World Economic Forum, my friend Gavin Newsom. So glad he's here calling out world leaders for believing appeasement works when it comes to Trump. It doesn't.
Well, unfortunately, Gavin Newsom did not call out any world leaders because they canceled his speech. Gavin Newsom was informed at the 11th hour that his Davos talk was canceled. Wah wah. And Scott Bessent is out here, dude, talking shit. Oh my God, this is great.
I think it's very, very ironic that Governor Newsom, who strikes me as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken, may be the only Californian who knows less about economics than Kamala Harris.
Patrick Bateman meets Barbie Ken doll.
He's here this week with his billionaire sugar daddy, Alex Soros, and Davos is a perfect place for a man who, when everyone else was on lockdown, when he was having people arrested for going to church, he was having $1,000 a night meals at the French Laundry, and I'm sure the California people won't forget that.
Scott Bessent's my favorite gay guy ever. Patrick Bateman meets Barbie Ken doll. He's Alex Soros's this is billionaire sugar daddy.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Reminder, Scott Bessent used to work for George Soros. Was one of his top hedge fund managers at the Soros Investment Fund many years ago. And Scott Bessent woke up to what George Soros was really doing and all those WEF people. And he left, and he basically, for years, has made it his life mission to destroy the globalist economic subversion. It's pretty great. He's doing a great job. And then let's see. Oh, okay. Some other happenings at the World Economic Forum. James O'Keefe goes undercover. Take a look at his take a look at his disguise. Bleach blonde hair. Anyway, he's talking to people at the World Economic Forum about geoengineering. And it's pretty cool. Good video. Now, my critique of this is that what these people were saying was not private information. It was not a bombshell. Honestly, the claims in this one were kind of a nothing burger. It's a good thing that he's spreading awareness about the issue, James O'Keefe is. But what he got on tape was not that big of a deal, in that geoengineering has been publicly admitted for like 10 years, if not longer, by Harvard, Bill Gates, institutions. It's a public thing. They admit it. And they publicly admit to spraying sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere, which James O'Keefe got on tape in this video. He was talking about sulfur dioxide. And yeah, there it is. Sulfur dioxide emissions. Now, what the theorists online have been talking about for years, like Dane Wigington at Geoengineering Watch, the theorists have been discussing that they're actually spraying barium, aluminum, and strontium. That's what the public institutions don't admit. If James O'Keefe were to get that on tape, something that's not publicly admitted, that would be a much bigger bombshell. Hopefully James O'Keefe tries to do that if he asks anybody else about geoengineering. Blake in the comments says this could be for the normies. Exactly. That's why I clarified this. This is good from the standpoint of help spreading awareness. But in terms of pushing exposing these geoengineering people, we need to get things on tape that they don't publicly admit to. So, wanted to clarify that. And then Bill Gates met by a crowd demanding answers on vaccine-related deaths and injuries as he heads to the World Economic Forum. I also have a rant on this, but let's watch the video real quick.
Mr. Gates, can I ask you what you think about the United States, the HHS and the CDC lowering the childhood vaccine schedule? What do you think about that? Mr. Gates, what do you think about the HHS lowering the vaccine schedule in the USA? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Mr. Gates, I'm a student from Columbia. I'm building a startup that aims to democratize access to education. Can I just have 10 seconds of your time? I don't share my idea with you.
Normalize publicly heckling these globalist elites everywhere and anywhere all the time. Good stuff. So, I have a thought on this. I find it curious that Bill Gates didn't say anything. I would think he would at least make a comment like, oh, it's horrible, it's terrible. Has Bill Gates even made any comments about what RFK is doing? Has he? That's a good thought. That just came to my mind. Anyway, Bill Gates' behavior over the last 2 to 3 months has been different, especially after he went to meet Trump at the White House. Right after he went to meet Trump at the White House, he basically all but reversed course on climate change. Bill Gates started going deep into nuclear, and I remember a video about him sort of reversing course on climate change. Now he's going deep into nuclear, not doing the Green New Deal scam tech quite as much anymore. Also, there was a video that we covered a couple weeks back where Bill Gates was essentially saying, well, if a Western industrialized first world country has a lower vaccine rate, that's okay because they're a first world country. It was like his vaccine narrative was so different than it ever was. It's like he was saying it's okay if Western countries don't vaccinate as much anymore. So I've said this a few times over the months. I wonder, I'm entertaining the idea. Of course, I don't know if this is true or fact, but I'm entertaining the idea that Epstein's blackmail that he had on Bill Gates and all these politicians and celebrities, once the Trump administration arrested Epstein, scoured his island, closed his island down, got all that data, all that evidence, the Trump administration, military intelligence started using that blackmail for themselves to leverage these deep staters. Somebody in my comments the other day called it white mail because it's not being used by black hats for dark agendas. This blackmail is being used by white hats now, so we're calling it white mail, I guess. But I liked that phrase. I'd never heard of that before. I think it's quite possible. That could explain the change in Bill Gates' behavior, why he's changing his tune on some things and not answering other things. And it could also explain the change in some other people's behavior as well. You know, there's some of these big tech titans not censoring anymore, seeming to not censor as much, things like that. And their investments, a lot of the investments these big players are making, investments into nuclear and infrastructure in America and manufacturing in the States as well. So also that could explain why Trump is so sort of mum on the Epstein issue, and we haven't seen some of those quote-unquote Epstein files yet because they could be using them and they don't want to give up their the cards up their sleeve. Trump administration. So there's that. What are we going to get into next? I've got about 20 minutes. We got a few more things we'll go through. Let me hit the comments for a minute. Where's Shipwreck Show? I don't know. Why asking me? It's a question for Badlands. Or Shipwreck. Arrests will not be happening. Sam apparently has a crystal ball. can tell the future. Let's see. Cool. Let's get back into it. Hit the comments later if I got time. Trump says he's successfully negotiated a deal framework in regards to Greenland after speaking with the NATO Secretary General. We're hearing that some parts of this Greenland deal will involve giving bits and pieces of Greenland land to the U.S., and the U.S. will have sovereignty over it to build some bases there. There may also be mineral rights given to the U.S., some sort of deal. I mean, shit, why not? Hey, Denmark, we'll give you freaking 10% or something. You'll make a shitload of money off whatever oil and minerals we get there, and piece of cake. Easy. Easy peasy. So it looks like, art of the deal in action. And then Trump seems to confirm the use of sonic weapons in the raid on Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela.
Speaking of Venezuela, there was a weapon used, a sonic weapon, that took out many of the Cuban bodyguards that were used to defend Maduro. Lots of people saw the details about that weapon and were concerned. Is that something that Americans should be afraid of, something the United States is combating?
Yeah, it's something I don't want to, nobody else has it. We have weapons that nobody knows about. And I say it's probably good not to talk about them, but we have some amazing weapons. That was an amazing attack.
Show us the UFOs, Trump. Show us the man-made triangles. Anti-gravity. Seems to confirm it. Seems to. He doesn't exactly say yes. Even if that story of the sonic weapons was not real, it makes sense that Trump would go along with it because it bolsters the narrative of America indestructible, don't fuck with Delta Force. But it could have been true. The whole sonic weapon thing. LRADs or whatever they use. Could have been true. Anyway, interesting clip there. President Putin says Russia is ready to contribute $1 billion to Trump's Board of Peace and accepts Trump's offer to join. This is a doozy. This is going to be crazy. They're almost setting up this Board of Peace to be a counter to the UN. You've got Putin and the UAE joining. It's like, what if it turns out that, and remember, Trump just took America out of like 30 different United Nations entities a few weeks ago. It's like you've got it looks like going forward what's going to happen is that you're going to have the globalist countries stick with the UN, and then sort of the sovereign alliance anti-globalist countries join this Board of Peace. And what's funny is that Israel is going to be stuck there in the middle, not wanting to join either. Because as we were covering last night in my live stream, some officials in Israel hate Trump's Board of Peace Gaza plan thing. They hate it. And it's going to be funny. You're going to have Israel awkwardly there in the middle. Like they don't like a bunch of people at the UN, but they don't like this Gaza peace plan thing. So they'll be like, shit. Yeah, this Board of Peace is huge, man. It's going to be a big deal. Speaking of Russia, our boy Kirill out here, special envoy to Putin, CEO of the Russian Direct Investment Fund, their sovereign wealth fund, talking crap to the globalists. Pretty great. Sweet meme. Ended their new world order. Davos, Switzerland, where globalists discuss the collapse of globalism. Awesome graphic. John Solomon.
I think this could have indictments or arrests as early as this month, based on my reporting, is they're looking at who is funding these protests, who is obstructing ICE, who are the funders, the orchestrators, the facilitators of these riots and these efforts to impede lawful enforcement. I think that could be the first sign of indictments, that we could see arrests and indictments as early as the end of this month based on the activity I'm seeing in the field. I think this could have indictments or arrests as early as this month based on...
As early as this month. You know, John Solomon's reporting is typically legit. What John Solomon reports on does happen from his sources. His sources are legit. Sometimes it takes like an extra week or two. His timing is sometimes out because, you know, it's very complex situations. Things can evolve. But what John Solomon reports on usually does happen. Just takes an extra like 1 or 2 weeks. So I give it by maybe Valentine's Day. We'll get some arrests of the funders of the paid agitators, Antifers. Pretty sweet. Boom's incoming. Speaking of those paid agitators, here's that post I was talking about. At Blue Lives Matter. We're not saying that Blue Lives Matter was behind feeding false information to far-left anti-ICE protesters. We're not saying we had teams comprised of hundreds of off-duty cops and veterans volunteer to run decoy operations, so far-left activists thought they were conducting ICE raids. We're not saying they were, in fact, they were just driving around in what appeared to be unmarked vehicles with tinted windows, drinking coffee and listening to Guns N' Roses, being chased down and surrounded by protesters. What we are saying is this: that if that did happen, it sure worked remarkably well in 9 different states, allowing actual raids to successfully take place unimpeded, helping support the capture of hundreds of criminals. Combat vets, off-duty officers, and patriotic Americans have had enough of the radical left. Bunch of combat vets running psyops on 20-year-old green-haired basement dwellers. Kind of outmatched there. They're just driving around in what appears to be unmarked vehicles with tinted windows. Just... It's pretty great, right? Pretty freaking hilarious. Because they are insane, man. Border Patrol Commander Bavino just getting shit thrown at him, dude. Just getting shit thrown at him. Like, look at this. The scene there. Oh, this isn't even the bad video I saw.
Commander Bavino, is it legal to deny service to federal agents?
I saw some gnarly videos today out of Minneapolis of just mobs of 50, 60, 100 people following these ICE agents around, getting in their way. These ICE agents better be getting hazard pay. It's like that $50,000 signing bonus. It's like, that was well deserved. And then House Oversight Panel holds Bill and Hillary Clinton in contempt of Congress. They were supposed to testify today, I believe, about Epstein. Right? Yep. Epstein probe. They didn't show up. Contempt of Congress. They weren't showing up for months. Today was a big day for accountability. God, Congress just loves to uptalk themselves. Accountability, ooh. It's like, fucking arrest somebody. Shit. Big day for accountability. Yeah, we'll see. And here's that UFO video. Someone recorded this at Area 51. And it says, newly released infrared footage shows an unidentified triangular-shaped aircraft over Area 51 and Nevada Test and Training Range. This is clearly not a UFO or any kind of exotic propulsion system craft. because you can see the exhaust trail behind it. It's clearly using conventional propulsion systems, controlled explosions to propel itself. It's probably some test drone. It's probably just a drone they're testing. Not a TR-3B or whatever alleged black triangle thing. Although here is Lockheed's post from 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Which I'm assuming this video was like yesterday or this morning. So I'm gathering that this video was after this post. But this Lockheed Martin post says, the D-21 flew in the 1960s, uncrewed, high-speed stealth with Skunk Works tech. Today we continue to develop and fly cutting-edge uncrewed systems. Most are classified. Maybe we'll share a few photos in the next 60 years. So because that sounds like it was posted purposefully right before this test flight. That's probably a Lockheed drone or something, I'm going to presume. But this shit, man, this shit pisses me off. Almost laughing at us. Condescendingly laughing at us. Maybe we'll share a few photos in 60 years. Meanwhile, what kind of technologies is Lockheed working on? Energy, propulsion that could just revolutionize our planet and our society. But they're just laughing at us because they're keeping a secret. So, get wrecked. Get wrecked, Lockheed.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
All right, guys, I got about 5 minutes. Chill here, hang. Bring in some music. Scott Bessent is on Alex Soros' side. Davos is all theater. Trump makes a grandiose speech and then comes back and implements their agenda. Yeah, I don't agree. The thing is, you're stating opinion as fact, and that's the issue. You sound very confident. Very confident in your black pill in there. Which is fine if that's your opinion, but that's not fact, right? So, you don't know. And we can disagree. Ha. Damn, Jordan, you got a tism? Yeah, my tism is maps, bro. Maps. Freaking love looking at maps, dude. I could just sit there for like an hour scrolling around maps or Earth and just looking at shit. Like, where should we go? Where should we go today, folks? Wild, man. Look at that. I like looking at properties for sale. So you got the Zillow-tism. But it's cool though, right? I like to scrub around Zillow too because you could daydream and, you know, all that. But it just gives you an idea of what different areas look like. You can see what this city looks like or this street and all that. And then daydream about the house too. So yeah, I like checking out maps, messing around with the street views and stuff. Look into Sedona. I've been to Sedona. Sedona's all right.
A lot of hippies there, but
it was cool. I was only there for a few days. like 8 years ago. Can I speak with John about creating an ad on the Badlands Media website, making a map similar to Milk Maps for people needing blue-collar jobs like house maintenance? Oh, that's interesting. I've talked with John before about creating a meetup map where people can put a pin in their area and they can, you know, meet up with folks around them, find people around them. But I like that idea. Blue collar jobs. You know, HVAC, painter, cabinetry, things like that. That's cool. Yeah, I don't know if that's possible. But, well, I'm sure it's possible. Absolutely possible. But I don't know if it's doable on the site they're running now, or if they have the developer with the know-how for that, right? So I'll float the idea. When's the next Cliff Hyde duo? Oh man, I was emailing with him a couple weeks ago. I can hit him up, ask him for another interview. That'd be good to do now that I have my YouTube channel back. I think the last Cliff Hyatt interview I did was like a year or two ago. Alright guys, any last questions, comments, concerns, complaints, drop them in the chat. I will, I'm gonna head on over to, let me see if I can raid. Altered state. Or does it have to be currently live to raid altered state? We'll be starting at about 10 minutes over there. Oh man, knowledge-based was good times. That was good times. But that show was... the stuff we were getting into was too complex. It was so complex. So... just took way too much work. Like, way too much work. So... that's a good question. I have no idea what Zach and I are discussing tonight. I'm going in blind. I don't know where my phone is. Shit. Well, it's not around me. Yeah, I need to hit him up. I have no idea. Probably the WEF meeting, or yeah, I don't know. But I'm filling in for Brad, so we'll probably just jump around to topics. Probably have nothing specific because I got to fill in. I think Brad had an appointment he was still at that ran over or something. So check out the map of Africa. What in Africa? Why? What's up? What's there? Check out them diamond mines. Check out them slave labor camps. All right, guys. Good chat. Good talk. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you want to come hang on Badlands, Altered State, come do it. Let's see if I can raid. Can I do it? I think I can. All right. I'm going to raid that channel. Sweet. All right, guys. Take care. See you tomorrow. Have I met Penny Kelly? No. The name sounds familiar, but no. So, cool. I'll see you tomorrow for the, I guess, Thursday stream. Same time, same place. 8 p.m. Eastern here on the channels. And then find me Instagram, Twitter. In fact, I've been getting a little more active on Instagram. If you want to go find me over there. Just making dumb short videos and posting things and stuff. So you're welcome to go find me over there. Same handle as Twitter. Jordan_Sather_. Go find me. And then again, locals, Patreon, supplements, link down below. Appreciate you guys. I will see you tomorrow.